Good evening. Welcome to the Black Conservative Voice with David Colbert here on the CTM News Network, the voice of truth. Well, man, here we are once again. It's been months on this second stimulus package, and Ms. Pelosi goes on Bloomberg Report, and all of a sudden now she's saying that, no, she didn't mean 48 hours. She meant that maybe we could have some type of negotiating point done on 48 hours. And she's still now talking about we still may not have a bill before the election. What are these Democrats trying to do? Well, let me give you a little analogy. This is something I was thinking about earlier today. These stimulus talks reminds me of an old cartoon. I don't know if you any remember this. It's an old cartoon where you have these two chipmunks. I believe they were chipmunks. And two chipmunks are standing in the doorway. And the one looks at the one and says, "You go first." The other says, "No, you first." "No, after you." "No, you first." "No, after you." This is what is going on with the Republican and the Democrat parties in Congress and the Senate. Now, let me share something with you. And some of the individuals that are involved in this back and forth are people that are still on the Republican side and are refusing to come over. And of course, Mitt Romney is one of those involved in the Senate and a few other ones. There are also swamp members in the Republican Party. Let's not release them of all, what's the name? I'm a Republican base. I'm a conservative. But there are swamp members in the Republican Party as well who want things done business as usual. Well, right now, I'm talking to you right now. Get off your butts and do something to help the American people. The American people are on the other side of that door. The Democrats are saying, "You go first." And others say, "Oh, you go first." We're waiting on the other side. It's time to stop being polite and help the American people. It's not about you. You have your jobs. A lot of you didn't lose your jobs during the pandemic. A lot of us lost businesses. We lost work. We're unemployed. And we're struggling. And we're waiting for you to do something else to help us. We didn't ask to be put out of work. Matter of fact, we should have just went ahead and did the herd mentality. At least we wouldn't be totally broke and all out of our credit is in ruin because we can't pay our bills because we're not allowed to go back to work for such a long time that we've all fallen behind. Please do something. Nancy Pelosi, stop sitting there in your butt and doing absolutely nothing. And I'm not only blaming Nancy Pelosi. Steve Mnuchin and all the other ones also need to wake up. The Republicans as well as the Democrats. The American people need something done. And especially Republicans, you need to stop this foolishness. Go ahead and pass it. President Trump already said, don't worry about it. A lot of the stuff, we'll straighten it out later on. Stop focusing so much on it and get the bill done to help the American people. You know, at this particular point, we're talking about, what do you call it, meat or what they call it, pork and the bills and things like that. We need to get past this garbage and we need to move on. We need to move forward. You know, a lot of us are suffering. I lost my job. I lost my business. One of my businesses, when this thing happened, somebody that bought my whole general income at the time. I had to rebuild, and I'm still rebuilding. But it doesn't hurt to get some help. I mean, I have some help from small business, but not enough to get me past these times that we're going through. And this stuff is dragging on and on and on. And Nancy Pelosi is still rich. The majority of you there sitting in the Congress and the Senate are still wealthy. I've seen your houses on TV. Some of you, you're rich. You're not poor. We're average American citizens. I'm middle class. At least I was until this pandemic came and it cut me down to, you know, a lower level of income. So we need to do something to help the American people. We need to stop all this foolishness and back and forth, and you go first, and somebody needs to go first. Well, I meant to share this story yesterday, but I'm going to share it today. Senator Ted Cruz has got on the Twitter Jack Dorsey, and they're supposed to be coming in, hopefully on this Friday, for a hearing to be reviewed in regard to this, where Dorsey is expected to receive a subpoena also for next Friday's Senate Judiciary Committee. The GOP leaders are seeking answers for why the company decided to censor new emails published in the Post, the New York Post, raising new questions about Joe and Hunter Biden. If you saw my program last night, you can tell how I feel about it. And their relationship with the executives of the company Burisma and with this China connection that they have going on right now. Twitter refused to unlock the New York Post account as well unless the news organization deletes tweets about its own reporting on Hunter Biden's email. They didn't produce the mail out of midair. This is news. And as Senator Ted Cruz said, this is during election time. You are interfering, Twitter, Facebook, and a lot of other ones are interfering with the political process. And you need to stop it. Cruz was also joined with GOP House Whip Steve Scalise, Republican from Louisiana, who floated the possibility of a collusion between Twitter and Biden campaign. Twitter is still holding the New York Post account hostage over Hunter Biden links. They are still holding the Post account hostage over this Hunter Biden deal. And they better release it. They need to release it soon. Now, if they're going to be counted as publishers, they're going to have to start paying taxes and paying those things that publishers have to pay. President Trump, once again, we're dealing with a media issue. President Trump slams the mainstream media over pro-Biden bias. President Trump pushed back against the mainstream media for their alleged biased coverage of the upcoming election. He took a stand against reporting that has been biased by pointing repeated instances in which the mainstream media extended preferential treatment to Joe Biden and his campaign. While speaking to reporters in Prescott, Arizona on Monday, the president rebuked the recent coverage of his bid for re-election while citing the selection of pundits with a history of bias against him in moderate presidential debates. NBC's Savannah Guthrie has been a subject of widespread condemnation among conservatives over her aggressive demeanor during a town hall event last week in which she repeatedly interrupted President Trump. You're not a presidential candidate, Savannah Guthrie. And she leveled a number of unfounded accusations against President Trump. Moving on from debates specifically, the president also addressed the way recent allegations of corruption perpetrated by the Biden family have been covered by mainstream media, which is stated has failed sufficiently report on the issue due to their blind support of the Democrat nominee. Joe Biden is a criminal, and he's been a criminal for a long time, stated President Trump. And you're a criminal in the media for not reporting it. Just because you hide it, just because you don't say anything about it, does not make it untrue. The truth shall make you free. We're going to take a short break. You're watching the Black Conservative Voice here on the CTM News Network, the voice of truth.
To every single mother, every small business owner, every farmer, every cancer survivor, and every woman out there who has ever been put down by the establishment, it's time to stand up. On November 3rd, we need you to write in Ola Hawatma on the ballot under New York 19th Congressional. Make history in the New York 19th District with the first woman to win by a write-in. Don't just vote. Make history on November 3rd, 2020. Write in Ola Hawatma.
Dr. Melinda Morris supports a strong economy, safe neighborhoods, limited property taxes, and promotes an improved education system. Dr. Melinda Morris wants to improve access and insurance coverage for medical care. Dr. Morris is pro-life and will support right-to-life legislation in Austin. Dr. Morris will remain true to her values when she is elected to office. She is going to Austin to promote life, prosperity, and personal freedom for the constituents of Senate District 13.
Welcome back. You're watching the Black Conservative Voice here on the CTM News Network, the voice of truth. You know, we were speaking in the last segment about this deal with the media not reporting on this thing. But if this was President Trump's son, Donald Trump, and President Trump was a former vice presidential candidate, it would be all over the news. And as I said in my program yesterday, there would be indictments coming down from everywhere. Indicting the campaign people, indicting the president, indicting his son, his family, anybody else they could pull out. They probably would have indicted his son, his younger son, and all the family. They would have indicted him because they possibly knew something about this thing with Burisma. Tell me they wouldn't do it. They would definitely do it. If it was President Trump and there was some speculation as to whether his son was doing something illegal or not, it would be on every freaking TV show, every radio channel, every TV channel in existence in this country. And they probably would shoot it around the world also. So why are we not doing this with Joe Biden's issue? The only ones reporting on Joe Biden's problem and his issues that he had with his son, Hunter Biden, is the conservative reporters. One American News, some on Fox News. And even even Fox News is avoiding some of the reports. But why are we doing this? I don't remember a time in history at all when Nixon was in trouble. Did anybody hide those reports and all those things that were leaked and released? No, they didn't. Yet the media stands by the lies that the Democrats told on President Trump over this quid pro quo, which quid pro quo Joe did. President Trump never did a quid pro quo. They tried their best to make it look like he had done a quid pro quo, but even during that time, they ignored the fact that former Vice President Joe Biden stood right up in a public media setting and said that he told them if they did not fire that prosecutor, he would not release the taxpayers $1 billion. Yes, your money. Your money. Why are we releasing it to Ukraine anyway? This is the American people's money. Why are we paying taxpayer money to the Ukraine? Ask yourself that question. This is the kind of stuff that happened when Joe Biden and President Obama were in office. They were doing all kinds of things with China and different other countries trying to discredit our country. And as I called it yesterday, and I'll call it again, they are guilty of treason. And they need to be brought up on those charges. Just as President Trump just identified them as criminals, that's exactly what they are. Okay, moving on. President Trump fired up Arizona crowds in Prescott at Tucson. President Trump has remained hot on the campaign trail recently, making 2 stops in battleground state of Arizona. Now, former Vice President Biden went back in his basement. He's hiding out because he doesn't want to answer that question about Joe Biden. And that, not Joe Biden, but Hunter Biden. Or Joe Biden himself. He don't want to answer any question about this Burisma deal or this China deal. And now this mess is going on with the debate. Another liberal or a Democrat little thing that they got going. They got the debate people now, the head of the debate thing, talking about they're going to mute the other person's microphone. When have you ever had this garbage before? When the other person is talking, you're going to mute the other person's microphone. I've never heard them do that before. Why are they doing it? Because it's President Trump and he has the truth. And you're not going to stop him from saying the truth. He's going to still could say the truth. He has his 2 minutes just as well as Joe Biden. And he will make his statements. and Joe Biden can say whatever he wants. The whole thing that he's running on is a big lie. He ain't bringing back America. America's already coming back under President Trump. Let me move on. President Trump, he made his first appearance with rally at Prescott Regional Airport on Monday. While speaking to supporters, the president reiterated calls to prosecute his Democrat opponent, Joe Biden, for his shady business dealings in the Ukraine. President Trump said if it weren't for Attorney General William Barr, Biden would already be in prison. And I agree with him. With the prospect of a potential criminal in the White House, the president turned to the upcoming elections by encouraging voters in Grand Canyon State to cast their ballots. He goes on to say, we're going to win the state of Arizona, and we're going to win 4 more years in the White House. He told the crowd, everybody needs to get out and vote. Return your absentee ballot today or vote early in person as soon as you can. Well, we're going to take a short break right now. You're watching The Black Conservative Voice with David Colbert.
Hunter Biden joined the board of a corrupt Ukrainian energy company for over $80,000 a month while Joe Biden was vice president. In China, Hunter joined the board of a private equity company funded by the state-controlled Bank of China. In Romania, Hunter Biden represented a businessman convicted of massive corruption. The question is not why Hunter Biden used his name to get these gigs. It's why Joe Biden let him do it.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
I'm Greg Raths. As a veteran, current council member, local businessman, I know our community. As your congressman, I'll fight to reduce healthcare costs, keep our cities safe, and our communities healthy. Our jobs protected, our economy growing, and our nation defended. Orange County is a wonderful place to live, work, and raise a family, but together we can make it even better.
Vote Greg Raths for Congress.
I'm Greg Raths, and I approve this message.
Welcome back. You're watching The Black Conservative Voice with David Colbert here on the CTM News Network, the voice of truth. President went on to say, shortly after the Prescott rally, the president traveled south to Tucson, Arizona. He promised his supporters the pandemic is finally turning around and applauded Governor Ducey, Republican Arizona, for reopening the state. His remarks came just weeks after all counties in Arizona were given a green light to reopen businesses. He goes on to say, we are rounding the turn. We have the vaccines coming, and all people are pandemic out. They're pandemic out. They're sick of the garbage. And yes, I am too. President Trump stated, you know that they're pandemic out. That why is it so great what your governor has done? Yes, he's opening up the state. We need to open up the states. We need to get back to work. I am still losing business due to this issue with COVID-19, as some of you out there are as well. We need to get back to work. We have to feed our families. And if someone would have said something about this whole situation, they should have allowed us to go back and get these places opened up. Because the problem is that a lot of us have still not regained our businesses. A lot of us have still lost in some businesses. A lot of businesses, small businesses, have shut down. Well, moving on. Tiffany Trump, one of the youngest of the Trumps, was at a Trump Pride rally in Tampa, Florida on Saturday, where they urged attendees to re-elect her father. Former National Intelligence Director Richard Grenell also spoke at the event, where he slammed Vice Presidential nominee Kamala Harris for being the queen bee of cancel culture. President Trump's youngest daughter told audience members that despite criticisms and lies alleged from the left, the president has continued to support the members of the LGBTQ community. I have friends of mine who reached out, she said, and they say, how would you support your father? We know you. We know your friends are gay, said Tiffany Trump. I say it's because my father has always supported all of you. He's never done it through politics. He's never doing it through politics. She went on to highlight President Trump's efforts to decriminalize homosexuality, which is illegal in 69 countries. Now, that is a whole another thing. We won't even get into that, but it necessarily shouldn't be a criminal activity or nothing like that. That's their choice. If that's what they want to do, that's the way they want to live their life, that is up to them. But, you know, it's been a very long few months for us who have lost businesses, who have lost jobs, and who have had people calling us. I know a lot of you understand what I'm talking about. We live in an economy, and the people, it doesn't stop. It's like me. What happens to these collectors? They never end up out of business, because if you get behind on your bills, guess what? The collectors are calling you. They're still employed. You know, I used to be a collector many years ago, and when they call me and ask me, say, hey, you got any jobs over there? They're not going to hire you if you owe money. No, they're not. But a lot of us are in a bad situation because of this pandemic and all these shutdowns, which really should have never happened. But I appreciate what the president attempted to do. But it's already been proven, even in the very onset, that N95 mask doesn't even protect you. They proved this back when the SARS virus was going on with Obama's camp. They proved it. The masks really do no good. Matter of fact, they do more harm than good. But a lot of times they cause respiratory problems if you don't use them properly. Some people walk around here on masks constantly. They can cause you respiratory problems. Nobody talks about that. The mainstream media avoids that. Oh, Biden avoids that. He's constantly talking about, well, I want to make everybody wear a mask. I'm going to tax you to the hill. Well, anyway, well, I want to thank you for joining us here on the Black Conservative Voice with David Colbert. Once again, I want to urge you to get out and vote in the early voting, and also get out on November 3rd and vote President Trump 2020 for re-election to the office of president, and watch this country take off and soar to new heights. And also advise you to vote Republican so that we can retake control of the House and maintain control of the Senate. No, we're not perfect, and neither are the Democrats, but right now they're in a radical state, and we need to get the radicals out of there. We need to get people in there that are willing to listen, that are willing to come across the other side of the table and negotiate. Not people who are trying to stand like Nancy Pelosi, saying that she will not budge. You still got to get some leadway, Nancy. I'm sorry. You're hurting the American people. And I don't know, the people in San Francisco, y'all need to be listening. You need to pay attention. They don't care about you. All they care about is their wallets. Nancy Pelosi is filthy rich, as they used to say in the old days. Former President Obama is filthy rich. They get on President Trump because he's a billionaire. But a lot of them are super millionaires. Well, once again, I want to thank you for joining us here on the Black Conservative Voice. We'll see you tomorrow evening. And I want to say what I always like to say. God bless you, God bless America, and God bless the world. Until next time, this is David Colbert saying good night and God bless.
Do you care about Black lives? I do. And unlike the people that currently run Baltimore, I actually have a plan to make life better for Black people here. Walk with me. I want you to see this. I'm Kim Klasick. This is Baltimore, the real Baltimore. This city was once among the most prosperous, populated, and powerful cities in America. So what happened? Our leaders abandoned us and Baltimore fell into ruin. But it doesn't have to be this way. None of this has to be this way. A broken Baltimore does not have to be our future. And that's why I'm running for Congress, because I see the city differently.
I walk the streets of Baltimore and see what could be. I want you to see what I see. I see Baltimore that picks up trash. There are piles of garbage all around Baltimore. It makes life unsafe for our families. I'll work with city leaders to get Baltimore's Solid Waste Bureau the resources it needs to take out the trash.
Our streets should be a reflection of our leaders. Clean, not dirty.
Much of our trash gathers in abandoned homes. There are over 17,000 abandoned buildings in Baltimore. They are a scar on the face of our city.
I will support tax credits and incentive programs to give residents a chance to buy and rehabilitate these homes. Everyone deserves a safe community and a chance at home ownership. Let's put the charm back in Charm City.
Who will live in these homes? The newly employed constituents of Baltimore City. This district needs more jobs. The best way to get them is by having businesses invest in our community. The Tax Cuts and Jobs Act gives federal tax incentive to drive private investment into opportunity zones just like Baltimore. Who will work in all of these new jobs if we don't have an educated workforce? 9 out of 10 black boys in Baltimore are not reading at grade level. Over a dozen high schools in Baltimore have zero, yes, zero, students proficient in math. This is a tragedy. We can end the school-to-prison pipeline with school choice, providing parents with options to escape schools that do not serve our children.
Let's make Baltimore better for our kids. Isn't that the point? That's my vision for Baltimore. The corrupt leaders hate it. They attack me for taking a stand, for wanting better for our people, our children, our communities. But I'm not the only one who wants better.
Tens of millions of you have shared the struggle of black people in Baltimore. You lifted our voices. You cared about our black lives more than our own Democrat leaders. They have done nothing for us. Now they can't hide. It's time for change. We are that change.
I'm Kim Klacik, and I'm running for Congress because I actually care about black lives. All black lives matter. Our communities matter. We matter. And Baltimore doesn't have to vote Democrat.